think the most interesting and unique medium to me at least would be intaglio etching, because I love working on copper, and something about just having that finished plate along to the finished print is so nice. The reason why I went to printmaking is because I feel as if I'm like an artist, a craftsman, and a scientist all at the same time. And when you're in the studio, you're always moving around and there's something to do, so that definitely keeps you occupied. It also gives people who normally wouldn't be able to afford a nice, unique piece of art a way to obtain it. And they're more available to lots of people, and I really like that side of the medium as well. My inspiration comes from things I had to live through as a kid and growing up in more or less the lower middle class. When I was younger, I'd always have to build things that inspired me or that I wanted to see, and I was able to carry that over into who I am now, which is kind of relevant in the subject matter that I make in a lot of the prints. Looks like everything's held together with staples and nails and whatnot. A lot of the buildings that I make tend to have a narrative to them as well. They're not just there as a background. They serve as more of a world-building technique. It looks like they were pieced together or couldn't really exist in the real world. So that sense of having a young imagination is also relevant there. The reason why I don't do figures right now in any of my scenes is because I want the viewer to occupy the space that I'm making. If there were people in these prints and settings, you would kind of feel like you're already looking on something that's there and populated. But with no one there, it gives the viewer a chance to imagine what the world would be like, and kind of gives a brief sense of escapism. I have a rough sketch that I work off of, and usually I transfer the drawing, so I have a very good idea of what the line work's going to look like. That is basically this foundation or skeleton for the entire print. Usually I go back into the print afterwards and do some burnishing or scraping to get those highlights or more even tonal transitions. I also really like that because there's always that sense of surprise in the medium. When you're pulling proofs, you really don't know. And it's, luckily for me, always kind of a pleasant surprise. I haven't really destroyed a piece of copper yet. And then when you can see it get really shiny, that's when you know it's going to be white. The biggest piece of advice I would give young printmakers is to definitely stick together. It's a very small community, and luckily it's a very supportive community. From what I've experienced in the field of printmaking is that we tend to share our secrets and learn and grow from each other. It's tough to keep going after college to find a studio, so I'd highly recommend finding an internship or maybe a studio tech job just to keep going and keep that drive going for sure. Definitely participate in some sort of print trades or ways to keep in the studio and whatnot.